bad inside that I work for a company that, you sign this Kia Sorento that you get, and Kias are fine cars, and they have a better quality now than they did, when I worked there, 10 years ago.
Right.
But the car would be like $16,000, and then after all the payments and all that, that would be another $16,000. It'd be like $32,000 for that car, and that was like the higher end of things with like a huge APR. But like I would say, the APRs on these loans were like probably at least 16 to 17, like between 13 and like 17 or 18 was common. But to see up to 20, like 8 or something like that wasn't either. But to see anything below that was hardly ever, because that's just not what we did.
Jesus Christ.
So I was in regular customer service for about 3 months before I moved to the online customer service, which was a much easier job. I was just answering emails, and most of the emails were like, just call in.
I remember once you moved to emails, you were on Easy Street.
I was. It was great. Anyway. But before that, I could still do some of these things. And so I did via email, but like we could waive up to a certain percentage of late fees, right? Like we could knock off, like if someone was like, oh man, like my payment's too high, like all these late fees, you could be like, all right, well, we'll knock off some of them, because it was an easy way for them to be like, okay, like it's cool, I'll bank my payment.
Right.
Or you could do like due date changes and change their due date, but you're only supposed to do that like once a year. Like, so you weren't supposed to do that very often. And so, man, like, when you're on the phone hearing these people's, like, I don't know that all these stories I heard were true, but, like, I got to tell you, man, like, they couldn't all be false. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, there's no way that all these people were like, dude, I lost my job. Like, I don't have the money for this. Like, I can't get to work if I don't have a car. So, like, for me, I was always like, late fees, baby, let's take all them late fees off, or let's, like, fucking move that due date. Like, I was always like, yeah, man, let's fucking do that. And then sometimes because I knew who I worked for, I would waive those late fees like every month sometimes. I'd like keep up with accounts and be like, yeah, knock that shit off, knock that shit off, knock that shit off. Because I was like, fuck these people, like this is a shitty way to run like your company, man. Like it fucking sucks. And then I would, still do that in online customer service. I would be like, yeah, we waived like $200 fees by.
Right.
Just, keep doing that kind of stuff. Because, again, it made me feel like working there,
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good thing. I don't know. I don't have like a funny remark about it.
Yeah, I know.
At least you were doing a good thing in a bad place. It's like, and honestly, even if they were lying, they probably were having money troubles regardless. So like you were helping them out. It's like, I remember one time this woman showed up at when I was a little kid, this woman just knocked on our door, and my parents answered, and she said she needed money to buy diapers or something, and dad like had some cash, so he gave it to her and then shut the door, and mom was like, she probably wasn't going to buy diapers, and he was like, didn't matter, she needed it, I had it, we didn't have money very often, so it wasn't like this was a regular occurrence, but like, I don't know, it was just like, take the risk that the person's being, if it's one time, if they're hitting you up over and over again, maybe not, but erring on the side of kindness is never
it's not a bad thing. Yeah, absolutely. All right, so what is your number 2? What did you do to stick it to the man?
So my number 2 is actually a little more fun. So when I first started dating the woman who would become my wife, Becca, on our second date, Maria was actually there and actually was the one who told me to call Becca and invite Becca. There was a birthday party for a friend's boyfriend. And so she was like, you should call Becca and invite her. And I was like, okay, I'm going to do that. And sure enough, Becca came along. And the party was at a bar, if you can believe it. And there was some drinking that happened.
Alcohol.
And and see, with me, or I feel like with you, you can really tell when either one of us is drunk. Because we get really cheery, we get really chatty, like we start laughing even more than usual.
We get loud too.
We also get loud, yes. But some people, like, Becca, it's a little harder to tell when they're drunk because they play it a little cooler, right? Like
you and I are like, we have all, these are all the tells. Look at them.
Yeah.
I just put all the cards on the table. Let's, here we go. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah.
So we're driving away from the bar and we pass UTA, and UTA was still doing a bunch of construction. This was in 2009, so about 11 years ago. Jesus. They were doing a bunch of construction on what would become like the biology building or something. I don't know. And Becca, who, as far as I could tell, was sober as fuck, was like, let's go there and check that out. That looks cool. And I was like, I wanted to, I was like, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. So we drive up to the UTA campus and we get out and we approach the fence. And then she hands me her lit cigarette and starts climbing the fence.
Wow.
Yeah. And she's like, I want to get closer. And behind me, I hear halt. And there's a UTA police officer heading towards us. And Becca has already gotten to the bottom of the fence on the other side. And she just looks at me calmly and starts climbing back up the fence. And she hands me her cigarette again to hold while she climbs back up and over. And then just starts walking towards my car. And she's like, just keep walking, just keep walking. And the cop is like, at this point, pursuing us, saying, you have been identified. You have to stop now. And like, we finally run out to my car and just peel out of the parking lot and go to Waffle House. And I'm sitting there thinking it's my last meal as a free man. I'm going to prison. There's got to be an APB. Nobody ever showed up. But like, I always, UTA has done a lot of nice things for me, especially, since the book came out. But I'm still very proud of the fact that I said, fuck you to that cop and just kind of took off out of there. And, he may have just been trying to scare us off, honestly. Like, he probably could have made it harder on us, I think. But
yeah, probably.
There's the one time I ever directly disobeyed a police officer, and I wouldn't have done it if Becca hadn't still been moving. I was just like caught up in her wig. I was like, okay, let's do this.
We're boogieing. We're getting out of here.
And that was the night I fell in love, really. Like, there was a lot more going on. It was a very eventful night.
The woman who broke into UTA stole my heart.
That's right. Which was locked up at UTA, weirdly enough.
And she unlocked it, and then it was good after that.
Yeah. After that, I could take it to Waffle House, which is what I did. All right. Number one with a bullet.
For me?
Yeah, or yeah.
No, I'll go. So I haven't paid taxes in 15 years. So that's I can't think of a better way.
File a return?
I don't. Someone else does.
Come get us, government.
So yeah, that's my biggest.
Oh, mine's gonna be really anticlimactic.
I mean, you can ask questions. I got to, if you just want to go get to it, that's fine. I'll talk about it.
I don't know. I don't know what to follow that up with. It's like, besides, who do you think you are, and what gives you the right?
I was watching a movie called The Shawshank Redemption, and that's how I got the idea. Yeah, it's a Stephen King novella. Or should I say Richard Bachman? Was it Richard Bachman?
No, it was a Stephen King.
Okay. Anyway, so yeah, I just, one day I was like, I'm not going to do this anymore. And I was like, after the Iraq War, I was like, I'm not doing it. I took a stand, really, is what it was. A principled stand.
And you've been quietly taking that stand ever since.
But also, like, quietly, kind of like you, like, when I go to a restaurant, like, I like to be able to have an exit and be able to see the door, because I don't know when I'm going to have to bounce out of there, right? Like, anywhere that I'm at, like, I'm at that point, like, it's a strange way to live. So for me, quarantine is kind of the worst, but kind of the best. Like, the cops always know where I'm at. So, but at the same time, I'm not anywhere else. So.
Oh my God. So they haven't approached you. You haven't been audited. Nothing.
I mean, yeah, like, well, here's the thing. Like, this all started actually because I got not a couple months ago, but like in 2005, like I got really into like the idea of like drafting Arnold Schwarzenegger to like run for the Senate in California.
Okay.
Like so much so that I was like, okay, but not only should he run for Senate,
Right.
but like we should like move to California and like become the people that elect him. Like it was going to be like this big grassroots like thing.
Right,
But I couldn't get anyone involved, so this is where the tax stuff started, like getting kind of shady, right?
Okay.
So I started making some weird shady deals, and like I think I was laundering money at one point.
You think?
I think, and so then I at that point Daryl Smith legally ceased to exist. So, it was just like the end of Shawshank, actually.
And Dare Bear Paddington IV became a living person.
I'm not going to say who has been filing taxes.
Fair enough.
I've already said a lot, I think.
Yeah, I feel like you've definitely put enough nails in that coffin.
But I feel like, at the same time, like, fuck them.
Yeah.
Sorry,
All they can do is, take your liberty in your life.
And they might do both.
Yeah, they definitely execute people for tax evasion.
Yeah. Okay. So right. Number 3 for you.
All right. So mine. After I left LG, I went. Fuck. Oh well.
I can edit that out. It's
okay.
I just really have to remember that. Oh, that would be good. After I work.
Okay, so I went to another company and I was pretty happy there for a while. I did a document control. So basically it just meant I was an electronic librarian. But
like Alfred.
I have this what?
Not Alfred. Who's a librarian? Who's a cool librarian? Wesley?
Yeah, Wesley, Giles.
Giles? That's who I was thinking of, but Wesley came into mind. He sucked. Yeah. Giles was way better.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Giles was great.
Anyway.
Wesley got better when he stopped being a librarian. Anyway. So anyway, yeah, it was a pretty sweet job. I was pretty happy there, but I had this boss who was not abusive. It was more like benign neglect. He would sort of just abandon me to run his department for, weeks or months at a time. And there was this temp who would not stop harassing me. Like I
remember this.
Yeah, he thought he should have my job. Now, if you know me, you know that I'm not the most aggressive person. I'm not that hard to get along with in most situations. I'm kind of a go along to get along sort of guy. This guy filed HR complaints against me. He accused me of all sorts of things. And I kept asking my boss, I was like, okay, you gotta do something about this guy. Like either move him or he's a temp so you can let him go. Texas is an at-will state, right? Like you can let him go and get somebody else and I can train them to do what he's doing. And he wouldn't do anything. So to get back at him, all I had to do was get into the most prestigious MFA program in the country. And, leave the state and quit that fucking job.
Tell him to kick fucking rocks. I'm out.
Oh, and also he kept texting me and calling me after I quit and I blocked his number.
Why would he text you? Like to be like, what's up, buddy?
Yeah, basically. I think he also wanted to see, I think he was trying to soften me up for the idea of maybe working long distance for them when I was done with school. But I was just like, absolutely not. Like, stop calling me, stop bothering me. I don't know. I was in a weird headspace, but honestly, like, who gives a shit?
Yeah, I think you did what was best for you, and that's important.
Yeah.
I think that's actually a beautiful way to get you. Like, did something to not only get you out of that position, but it enriched yourself in the process. Like, that's the biggest like fuck you ever to your boss. Like, hey, this shithole, I'm fucking out.
I beat the capitalist system. You know, I got